Hey guys, Ben Payne here, and today we're back once again for another video, and this time we are up in the north. We're up in Teamsport Leeds to take on the track for the very first time. Now obviously bear in mind this is the very first time I have been up here, and I was really excited to try it out, and I was pleasantly surprised by the amount of grip on this tarmac surface. Obviously being down in Bristol, it's a lot different, so we're going to see how we get on today. Now this is the third session that you are watching. Obviously we were taking part in a Monday night social event, obviously 3 15-minute sessions, and this is the last one because this is where I got my fastest recorded time. I did do a little quick disclaimer, did do a 15-minute race at the end for a little bit of a discounted price, which I was quite happy with, where I managed to get a 39.9 second lap time. So the goal in this session, after speaking to Kai, who was up here, I'll leave a link to his channel down below as the pinned comment. Defo Kai, absolute legend, helped me out an absolute bunch, and he really helped me to just be as quick as I could be for the first time up at the track. Now before we get into the rest of the video, I would like to say, if you are new to the channel, if you haven't already, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below, as we have a lot of different footage coming at you very soon, and it's going to be a whole heap of different events that I hope you're all looking forward to. And if you do enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like on it down below, as it really does help me out and I really do appreciate it. Now as I mentioned, I was up here with Kai, a great lad, really appreciate him helping me out, and we're just going to try and use what we've learned in the previous two sessions. Obviously this is the third one, as I mentioned, to try and hone in and get as close to a 39 second lap time as we could. Now I think I had a little bit of the benefit of the karts being tuned up slightly. This was recorded on the 23rd of October, so this is just after the BIKC regional final had taken place, so I knew that whatever kart I was going to get in, it was probably going to be up to pace. So it was more about my own driving ability compared to sort of some of the karts are better than others. So I want to jump in and really give it my best shot. Now you can see already our fastest lap in this session of 40.546, so about half a second off where we want to be at the moment. And the thing I was really struggling with for the whole day was that second hairpin that I just went round then. I just found like I was bogging down, I wasn't quite taking the correct line through the corner, and again coming under the bridge, the absolute bridge of death, it destroyed my ribs in this evening. I came off after that fourth session, and I genuinely, the first time I've come away from indoor karting, honestly in a bit of discomfort and pain for the next 24 hours. My left rib, or my rib cage, felt like I'd gone 12 rounds in a boxing ring. It was absolutely pile driving me going down into that corner under the bridge. And again, I was just really enjoying it, and the amount of grip on this track is absolutely phenomenal, and the track itself was just fantastic to drive around. So again, you can see I'm trying to take a wider entry going under the bridge, and you can see just how little control I almost have going under the bridge from the amount of bouncing and porpoising that's going on from going under it at such speed. I felt that the karts that I was using here at Teamsport, they were the fastest karts I've used indoors, so I don't know if they had some sort of special fueling or something, but they felt really good and just really fun to drive, and it just felt like such a free-flowing track, using the whole of the track, or trying to, in order to get the best exits that you can out of especially this second hairpin. As I said, I was struggling with it quite a bit, and you obviously have to keep your foot in for such a long period of time. Obviously you're keeping it flat out through all of this section of the track, lifting off slightly here to try and maintain control before a big braking zone here, switching left then right, and then you're flat out again right up until you cross the start finish straight and into the first corner. So a couple of very long straights on this track where you really get to maximize the top end speed of the biz karts that you are using. So you can see our fastest lap so far has come down to a 40.254, which I was really happy with. I believe my fastest time earlier in the sessions was about a 40.1, I believe, in the second session, and it was a 40.5 in the first one. So I could see that with each session that was going past, we were making some exponential progress, getting faster and faster, becoming more and more comfortable. But obviously, as I mentioned, I was also becoming a lot more fatigued as the evening went on. I obviously don't use a rib protector, and it just really was pummeling into the side of me every single time. I was in the first session. I didn't actually take part in the briefing. Obviously, as being an elite member, I wasn't required to take part in the briefing, where they told all the drivers that hadn't actually been to the track before to not go as tight to the first left-hand corner before you go under the bridge. I obviously wasn't in that briefing, so that was what I was doing throughout the whole of the first session, and I was just bouncing around all over the place, and it was absolute carnage inside of the kart. Now, the kart I was using here, I believe it was kart number 1. I felt that the seat was slightly bigger compared to some of the other ones that I was in, and this caused me to just get thrown about a little bit more, and just the discomfort was just increasing more and more. But we were pushing on throughout that, and we were just trying to get as close as we could to a 39-second lap time, as I've mentioned. Now, coming up behind someone for the first time in the third session here, and obviously everyone that was sort of coming along to this Monday night were all track locals or people that have been to the track numerous amount of times before, so I was really happy to not be one of the slowest people there. Obviously, you never want to turn up somewhere and be slow, but instead I was really pleasantly surprised by just being on the same pace, or if not quicker, than some of the other locals that were at the track. So this made me quite happy. You can see the driver there. I've managed to gain quite a lot of time on them through and going under the tunnel, and again we just managed to weasel our way past, going into the 2 hairpins before the back straight towards the start finish line. Obviously a little bit slower having to make that overtake, but we just want to try and get our head down and catch up to some of the other people that are up ahead of us, because obviously I found the driver that was ahead of me now, we were sort of on the same pace. You can see Kai there on the left hand side as well. He was absolutely rapid on this evening. I believe he was getting mid 39-second lap time, so he really had some solid pace. I knew that if I could get out behind him and follow him around in this session, obviously that's what I've been doing for some of the other sessions as well, if I was able to do this, then my times would just keep coming down, I'd keep being quicker. And obviously the more track time you put in, even if it's over such a short span of 45 minutes, including the 3 sessions, you're just going to become more comfortable, find where you can push the kart a little bit more, where you should ease off. And one thing I noticed through this little complex section at the beginning, rather than going flat out into the corner and hitting the brakes or lifting off, after going through that section, I found that almost half throttling it through that section just allowed me to have that little bit of extra grip. I was then able to run the kart wide and maximise the whole use of the track, or the whole width of the track, sorry, and this meant I could get a better exit going up the ramp, which is obviously somewhere where you want to carry a bit more speed, just due to losing that momentum by going on an incline. Now again, we're trying to take some tight lines, really wanted to make sure the back end of the kart didn't slide out, especially on the 2 key corners, as I mentioned, the sort of last corner before the back straight, and also the second hairpin where we're about to come up to now. Obviously if you get the back end out there, you're going to lose your momentum, and that's just going to cause you to have such a bad run into the 2 fastest parts of the track. And again, trying to maximise the width of the track, push the kart out quite wide, use all of the space on the track that is available to me just to try and keep that momentum up. Again, just going under the bridge, really getting thrown about all over the place. Even the GoPro can't stabilise it that well, and trying to get as close to the apex as I could to try and run the kart out, and then come down to the start finish line being as quickly as I can. Now, I felt I was catching up. Some of the guys up ahead were being really consistent in our times of 40.1 yet again, only 100th off our fastest lap so far. So I felt that with each lap that was going past, I was getting more comfortable and being a little bit quicker. I could see as well that I was beginning to catch up with the drivers that were up ahead of me, which I was really happy about. Obviously, as I always say, or I have said in previous videos, when I personally have a visual marker up ahead of me to sort of catch up to, it just makes me push that little bit harder. I seem to find those couple of extra attempts just because I feel like I really want to catch up and get involved with the other drivers that are around and on the track. Obviously I don't want to bring you guys just footage of me driving around on my own. I don't really enjoy doing that too much, but that was pretty much the case for all 3 sessions in this one. I just found like I was driving around trying to learn the track, and that's sort of the main thing you want to do on a Monday night. You just want to try and put in the best lap times you can, suss out where the grip is, where you can really push the kart, and try and get some quick lap times. Now again, we're coming around into the sort of under the bridge, which I was beginning to get really fatigued with. Again, we are taking it a little bit better this time, trying to stay as tight to the right hand side there as we exit, coming back up the ramp after we're going down and under the bridge, just to try and minimise the track length, because if you carry it out a bit too wide, you find that you just lose a lot of momentum. And again, here you can see our fastest lap so far, 40.065, and that must be because of the use of human DRS that we used indoors. It obviously gave us that extra tenth that we needed, and again we just wanted to try and build on that. And actually the lap you are watching now is in fact our fastest lap that I managed to catch on camera. Obviously, as I mentioned, we did get a 39-second lap time in the race that we did in the final session, but unfortunately the camera died as we were going around for an hour, and it's just one of those things that keeps happening to me at the moment. So again, we're coming around the last couple of corners, kept this lap nice and tidy. We come across the line, no human DRS this time. We come across the line with a 40.032, so only 300th off a 39-second lap time, which I was really happy with. I was a little bit disappointed that I wasn't able to get a 39-second lap time in this session, but obviously, as I mentioned, I was able to get it in the 4th session that we did later on in the evening, so I was really happy to leave the track with a 39-second lap time. Obviously, coming up here, I had no idea what sort of lap times I was going to do. I had some sort of benchmarks from people that had done BIKC, but I knew that obviously with no practice or no prior knowledge of the track at all, and just coming up here for a bit of fun with one of the people that I go to university with at the moment, I thought that if I could just hop in here, see what sort of times we could do, and see if we could push some of the locals to their limit. So you can see a little bit slow on that lap, 2 tenths off our fastest lap so far, a 40.266 second lap time, and now we finally managed to actually catch up to some of the people up ahead. We've got a driver there, waves us through, but unfortunately by taking a bit of a narrow line, even though they've let us through, it's just going to kill our momentum coming around this section of the track. So this lap's obviously going to be a little bit slower once again. Try and stay as tight as I can to the right hand side, but I was really struggling to get the car turned into the right when my whole body was being thrown entirely to the left. So it was a lot of fun. I was really enjoying the track, and again we are managing to catch up to the 2 drivers that are up ahead of us. Again, just trying to really not fully hit the brakes. I found that locked the brakes up a little bit too much, and instead of using my own normal way of braking, which is more just smooth, slow press on the brake pedal and then lifting off and hitting the accelerator as quickly as possible, I found that just by getting straight on the brakes but only using half pressure, it seemed to work the best here, rather than using all of the brake pedal, because if you do that, the rear is going to lock and you're just going to lose all of your momentum. As I mentioned earlier, that's just a complete detriment. So we're coming around on this lap once again, catching up with some of the drivers up ahead of us, and we come across the line on this lap with a 40.097, so getting quite close to our fastest lap, but still not managing to break down into the 39-second lap times. And I do believe that you are watching the final lap that we had in the session now, so we are just trying to trundle around here, trying to catch up to the other guys up ahead. It's a little bit of a shorter session just due to the fact that I wanted to swap one of the karts that I had, because I wanted to try out a different kart compared to earlier in the session. So the button sort of got recorded after I did one lap and then swapped into the kart that I was using now. So we're coming round the last couple of corners here. We haven't really gained any time on the 2 guys up ahead. Kai's letting past the driver that is up ahead of us, and we're now finally behind him, but unfortunately that was in fact the final recorded lap of the session. So we didn't know it at the time, but we are coming round here to the end of the video and the end of the session as he waves us past as well. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this one. It's a little bit short but sweet, and I honestly had an absolute blast. This track is probably my favourite indoor track that I've done so far in terms of team sport. I had a great time, and I would love to come up here again in the future. I couldn't sing this track's praises enough. It was so much fun. As always, down below in the description is my Instagram, so feel free to follow me on there, and obviously down in the comments is Kai's channel as well. Go and check him out, he's an absolute legend. But in the meantime, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.